This episode of the Western Outdoor News Podcast is brought to you by Western Outdoor News Events. We have a team tournament charity event, Kiss My Bass, coming up November 20th, 2021 at Laz Marina. An open team entry at $400. Don't miss out. There'll be live music, raffles, barbecue, and a silent auction to fish with a celebrity pro. To sign up, call 949-366-0248 or visit wonews.com. All proceeds of this tournament will go to the Stockton Boys and Girls Club.
No, we don't talk about that. No, I don't even look.
And that's the thing. It's like, it just looks like, okay, what's going to happen? Hey, folks, and welcome to the Western Outdoor News Podcast. This is episode 38. This week, we sit with tournament director Billy Egan and go over the WAN Bass U.S. Open. We talk about the itinerary, some past winners, and touch on conditions of Lake Mead. We then get the chance to catch up with one of our newest contributors to WAN, John Stenstrom. He talks about his most recent column, So You Want to Be a Spearfisherman.
And I'm like slowly putting on my gear as I'm watching them put on their gear. And they're just like, you haven't done this before, have you? And I was like, nah.
He goes over his experience being introduced into the sport, as well as some things to avoid when first starting out. And let's get this thing started with tournament director Billy Egan and the WAN Bass U.S. Open. Official practice starts today?
Today,
so guys are out there practicing. Have you heard much as far as guys practicing, how it's been out there? Obviously,
I haven't heard much from anybody, but I've seen guys posting stuff, and right now Lake Mead's got some weather stuff going on, and we've all been experiencing that here locally.
Yeah.
Like the lightning the other day, but. One of the guys posted something from Kingman, Arizona, a pretty good squall that blew through yesterday that was heading towards Mead. And so saw a couple pictures of guys with calm waters at Mead and then not so calm waters at Mead. So, it's part of the nature of the beast out there. I mean, that's why Lake Mead is the home of the U.S. Open. It can change in an instant, and there's so many different factors that it takes to win that thing. Mother Nature's just one small part of it.
Yeah, I was looking at the extended forecast.
No, we don't talk about that. No, I don't even look.
And that's the thing. It's like, it just looks like, okay, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
it doesn't. You don't know until the day comes out there. That's
right.
For sure.
For 10 years doing this, I never look at the forecast because it either never comes to fruition or it's different than what they say.
Yeah.
So the way I see it, when we wake up in the morning, that's when we'll make decisions on what we're doing. But looking forward to an awesome event.
So we got official practice happening right now. Guys are out there practicing, and then come Saturday, check in at Calva Bay. And then also a Bass Cat test rides. That's going to be going on between 1 and 6 p.m.
Yeah, Saturday is the last day of official practice. So on the afternoon of Saturday the 9th, we'll be down at Colville Bay Marina, down by the boat rental area where they, on the actual docks on the water, not the ramp. From 1 to 6 o'clock, registering the anglers that are getting off from their last day of practice. It's a nice way to end the day and not have to worry about doing it the following day. But all of the anglers will need to check in at least one of the 2 days to just let us know that they're physically there, do some paperwork and so forth. But, Bass Cat's bringing all of their crew down there. They've got Mike Iaconelli at the event this year fishing it, Kevin Short's fishing it, Steve Kennedy, Rick Pierce will be down there. A lot of those guys will be taking people out that want to test ride on some Bass Cat boats. One of the cool things is they're bringing out the brand new Puma STS, which was launched this July from Bass Cat, and it's a really cool model, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm actually going to get one to play with for 3 days. So
that'll be the.
But that's from 1 to 6 o'clock Saturday at Colville Bay, and then Sunday we have our sponsors fair and registration from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So if you're in the local area or you're out there to see the U.S. Open, you're more than welcome to stop by, come by and see our sponsors, come by and see the anglers. But there'll be a barbecue going on from Scott, who actually is the chef at the Lake Las Vegas, who won Hell's Kitchen on TV one time. So he's doing a barbecue spread and some beer venues and stuff like that for the guys and families that want to come by and check it out. But it'll be a real fun event. And then at 2 o'clock, we're going to gather all the anglers together after the sponsors fair is done to do a quick meeting and rules instead of doing a live Facebook, since everybody will be there in one spot. And then about 4 o'clock, the text messages will start rolling out of who they're paired with and what times and flights and all that information. And Monday morning, we rock and roll.
And all that's going to be held at Finlay Toyota just down the road, right?
Finlay Toyota, just across the freeway from Sunset Station, which is our host hotel.
Very cool.
So none of the actual meetings and gatherings are happening at the hotels. Everything's happening at either Finlay Toyota or down at Colville Bay Marina.
And then we just move right along into the tournament after that, and time will tell.
Yeah, it's hopefully 3 full days of awesome fishing. I mean, I've heard that the fishing is really, really good right now.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are having a lot of success out there. They're surprised at how good the bite actually is. You know, it's a 13-inch mouth closed limit out there. You can catch 1,000,000 12-inchers, but to catch 13-inch or bigger is what the game plan is. So we've got right now over 200 boats that are going to be parlaying out there on the Great Equalizer, and Rick Klun's going to be out there.
We talked to him on the show here earlier this season.
He's an amazing guy.
How much of a pain and mistress that place really is.
Yeah, I call Rick the shaman of bass fishing. He's kind of he sees things and talks about different angles of tournament fishing that most don't.
Yeah.
And it's a mental game for him as well as it is an angling game. But yeah, lots of great personalities coming out this year. The low water is just something we have to deal with.
It is what it is.
And Colville Bay and the national parks have done a great job in providing at least 2 ramps for us to use, Hemingway's and Colville Bay for this particular event. And we just got our permit the other day finalized. So we are a go. It's a green.
Yeah, and that launch procedure is going to be, obviously a little bit different. We're going to start as early as we can get guys going on that.
Yeah, so we're not going to be doing the normal boat inspection on the ramp like we typically do, which kind of slows things down. And at the same time, that does give more guys the opportunity to launch because it creates some space. But the most important part about this whole thing is that we're going to be at the ramp assisting guys backing in. We're hoping that about 30% of the guys launch at Hemingway and make the 10 to 15-minute ride across, which is more than acceptable by us to do that because it'll take some of the pressure off of Colville. But we'll be doing inspections on the water, just like we did at Clear Lake, a single file, slow launch by the dock, the very end of the docks, and then they'll go past the tire line and blast off on their particular flights. We may have to include a 5-minute spacing between each flight to allow more boats to get on the water, but I think we may actually just start at 7 o'clock rather than 6:30 right to safe flight, which will give more guys the ability to get over or get in to launch on time. So either way, we're going to, just shuck and jive and make this thing work.
Yeah, definitely. It's, all these guys are good at backing their boats, and for the most part, so we're a lot more fluid than the average crowd, I'd say.
That's true. A lot of people say there's only two lanes down there. Well, to us, there's at least 3, so, and we'll have some of our guys like yourself, because some of the triples aren't as good backing things down to jump in and assist those guys that need a little assistance so that the process goes smooth. And then the weigh-in's going to be modified this year for the tournament. We're doing it on the water. On the docks, we've got a special platform that Colville put out for us to do that, and it's going to be unique. We've never done it on the water down there, but when I run tournaments, I look for choke points. I look for where the problem's going to happen and try to avoid those things. And, with the low water situation, the biggest choke point was the launch ramp. And if guys can't get their boats on their trailers and up to the weigh-ins where we used to do them, then this thing would fall apart. So, made the executive decision to do it on the water. And I think it will work real well. And, I'm looking forward to a flawless U.S. Open.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing tournament. Like you said, a lot of big names coming out to this one. A few of those big names, Iaconelli, we obviously know he's going to be out there. Rick Klun. Anyone else comes to mind who's?
Well, yeah, you got Clifford Perch. You've got
and he's won it.
Josh Bertrand. Clifford Perch is the only other person besides Aaron Martin that's won it 3 times.
Yeah.
And speaking Aaron, I'm getting chills right now.
Yeah.
He's unfortunately not going to be able to make it this year. Things are not improving right now, unfortunately for him. So this tournament is dedicated to Aaron Martins and his 3 wins and the struggle that he's going through. So we're going to be throwing his name out a lot this weekend and dedicating this 2021 WON Bass U.S. Open to his name.
Awesome. That's huge. It's such a bummer that he's not going to be able to make it out, and to his family and everything. It's just, he needs all the support he can get.
Yep. All the prayers, all the support he can get. He's got a very tough battle ahead of him, and he's got very strong religious beliefs and a very strong family background. Carol actually had to back out to go home to be with him. So we were hoping that he could come out and just be part of the Sponsors Fair, but with his current health condition, he can't travel like that. And I've got something planned. Hopefully he can tune in on Saturday at our Sponsors Fair at 2:00. Okay. So if he can tune in, we're going to be doing something special for Aaron at 2:00 at the Sponsors Fair.
Very cool. Yeah, and we're going to be doing a live showing of the U.S. Open, the weigh-ins and stuff that this year.
Yep.
It's going to be we've been setting up for this thing.
Been setting up. We've been, getting our own system.
Yeah.
Brad's been working out all the kinks, and we're hopefully going to, show up with a multi-camera live broadcast, which is different than we've done in the past. We broached that technology at the Clear Lake tournament in our infancy there, but I think we've got some cool stuff coming. You'll be able to watch live on any one of our platforms each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, usually starting around 2:00, maybe 2:20. We'll go live until the end of the weigh-ins and then do a little recap just after the final guy weighs in, so everybody can watch and see what's happening down there. Obviously, because we're doing it on the water, there's no room for fans or spectators to come down there. And, Nevada is still under a lot of different COVID protocols down there. So we're hoping to put a couple TVs up at the metal tent where we used to do the weigh-ins so that the fans and friends that are there can watch live up there and enjoy some drinks at Colville Bay and refreshments and food there. So we've got lots of plans and even got some good ones for next year too. So we're looking forward to getting this one
cool stuff
wrapped
coming
up.
Down the pipeline, that's for sure. Well, I guess let's talk about the lake a little bit and the fishing and previous tournaments won and stuff like that. What is the deal there? What's the jam most years?
It takes a lot of, to win the U.S. Open, it takes good decisions happening for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
Consistency. One bad mental error or decision can change everything out there. But it's a finesse lake for the most part. A lot of guys are catching them and are winning it either on the drop shot or, buzz bait or spinner baits, but with the water low, there's new structure down there. It's a new lake to the fish as well, because, they're having to find new habitat and stuff like that and find the bait and the forage. But, Clifford Perch, he's a power fisherman, Roy Hawk's a power fisherman, but they also use finesse techniques, umbrella rigs and things like that. Johnny Johnson, that won it a few years ago, he won it on a drop shot, Bub Tosh, that won it a few years ago, he actually won it punching, punching vegetation and flipping and stuff like that. So, and following other people that were leaving fish that they didn't see.
Yeah.
So it all depends on how much time you put into locating where the pattern is currently. And, then you got the other side of the spectrum where you got a guy like Steve Kennedy, fishes the MLF and fishes the big stuff. He came out last year with 4 hours of practice and came in the top 10.
Yeah.
How did he? I don't know, but he applied what he knows from other areas to this one and came on something really quick. I mean, Luke Clausen's done the same thing. He showed up and just fished and done well. Didn't know the lake real well. But, some people, Josh Bertrand, Roy Hawk, Clifford Perch, they fish these desert lakes. They know the conditions, who knows how much of the weather has to do with it and different things. It looks like, and I did peek, there's some temperature changes that are happening the 3 days that we're there.
Yeah.
Supposedly there's going to be some winds on Tuesday, but that was supposed to be Monday. So hopefully it's Wednesday. And by the time we get out there, it's Thursday. But there's always subtle changes that happen out there that make guys adjust. If you don't adjust, you don't win.
Yeah. And wind's not always a bad thing out there.
Wind is not always a bad thing. I mean, last year we had, I think, a day and a half of calm nothing.
Yeah,
you know?
and that can make it just as tough.
Just as tough, because it was slightly windy the whole week prior, you know, during practice. You know, those fish are used to windy conditions, or they're used to also bluebird skies. You know, when you throw a little cloud in there, they're not used to it because these squalls don't come through that often. But usually September, but it looks like, you know, it's hanging around a little early October right now with the weather patterns.
Now, with the smallmouth being in the lake, do you notice that becoming more and more in the bags?
Through the 10 years that I've been running the U.S. Open, when I first started in 2010, it was almost 50% smallmouth for like 3 or 4 years. And then it started slowly, the percentage started going down on smallmouth.
Oh, really?
A lot more largemouth. And last year, I think it was predominantly largemouth. There were smallmouth weight, but it was nowhere near 50-50 as it was before. And I don't know why that is. Although, you know, the largemouth are doing really good out there. You know, the introduction of the different shad that are out there now, gizzard shad, you know, they're all over the place. And so, you know, and quagga mussel and all this stuff, it's, you know,
it's constantly changing.
It's a food chain.
And it's not just that the water level is changing. It's everything in the lake's changing.
Everything changes. So, you know, even upstream from Mead, you know, our Lake Powell is low as well. And, you know, we're hoping for a good winter. We're hoping for some good snow up in the Utah mountains, Colorado mountains to bring some water down. Clear Lake's low. They're all low out here.
Everything's low.
Yeah.
Everything's low right now.
We're all shucking and jiving, doing the best we can.
All right, Billy. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We'll be out there this weekend with you, helping out, covering as much as we can while we're out there. Guys, if you're going to be out the U.S. Open this year, be sure to thank Billy because he's been going through a lot. Here in the office, it's every day he's on the phone just about from the time he gets in till the time he leaves. And I hear after he leaves.
Yeah. You know, I do this because I love it. And, you know, it's work. It is what it is. But if you don't put the work in, you're not going to get the end result that you want. So
right.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on. And I'm actually heading out tomorrow. So we'll see you guys at the U.S. Open.
All right, Billy. Thank you. All right, guys. And up next, we have John Stenstrom. So you want to be a spearfisherman?
For sure. So my name is John. I'm a SoCal native, born and raised in Long Beach, California. Lived pretty much most of my time split between Long Beach and San Diego. I got into fishing by my late uncle. He was my godfather. He was down in San Diego. He's kind of like our family legend. He would always be in Mexico catching tuna and yellowtail growing up. And when I got interested in fishing at a young age, he took me light line surf fishing down in Torrey Pines and La Jolla, and just kind of fell in love with like the ocean there. And then my dad would always take me up into the backcountry in the high Sierras, like for a week or two, like really doing like that pack in, pack out kind of lifestyle. And he introduced me to like fly fishing. So I've kind of always had like a wide array of fishing interests, because my grandpa, he's back in the day lived in a small fishing village in the Philippines. So he was like a net fishing guy. Like that's how they paid for their food. So it's like, it runs deep in the fam. And then now that I'm in my 30s, I think I was kind of going through like a quarter life crisis or something. I was like, I feel like I need to reconnect with nature, and kind of fell into spearfishing like a little over 4 or so years ago. And I've just fell in love with it. Like it's just it just has everything that I love: adventure, a little bit of risk taking, and then, you know, catching fish and eating them. Yeah.
And so did you kind of start out just doing some diving and stuff, some free diving? How did you really start? Did you just jump right into it? Because that's something, you know, we were talking about earlier. Guys do jump right into this and kind of go full pull, and that's kind of what you talk about in your recent column. Is, you know, how do you ease yourself into this?
Yeah, I kind of did everything opposite of the article that I wrote, and that's why I wrote the article, because I did everything stupid.
Well, there you go.
I was aware of spearfishing in college. I went to UC San Diego, but my cousin went to UC Santa Barbara, and he was telling me about the couple times that he went in the kelp forest, and I was like, "You're nuts, man! That's crazy! Like, why would you ever do that?" And then I just didn't think about it for years. And then I was taking my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, to Malaysia, and I wanted to go do some scuba diving because I've done it a lot in the Great Barrier. over the years. And I was just like, oh, let's go do scuba diving. Let's get certified. And then let's go see some awesome underwater stuff. And one of the instructors was Fathomir, and he was relatively new to it, but he's like, hey man, you look pretty adventurous kind of thing. We were just talking offhand, and he showed me a picture of him. I think he was only in like for 4 or 5 months of spearfishing, and he had like a 70-pound white sea bass. And he just showed me a picture of him holding it up, and I was like, why the hell am I going scuba diving? I want to go do that. Like, that's what I want to do. So as soon as we got back from the trip, I was like, what do I do now? Because I didn't really get his contact information, and I didn't really know anybody doing it. So I just kind of did the worst thing, which is go online, went on, I think it was like Spearboard or one of the forums. And I was just like, holy cow, there's a lot of back and forth here. I was like reading some of the old stuff. I was like, wow, this is interesting. And then I found some guy put his like phone number, and I just like, and it was from years ago. And I just texted the guy. I was like, hey, you down to go spearfishing? And he's just like, hey, yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but I'm down to go out. You've been going for a long time? And I kind of like lied my way in. I was like, yeah, for sure. Please take me. And then like when he's like, yeah, let's go on this Saturday. And I was like, okay. And it was like a Thursday. And I was like, all right. So that Friday I bought all my new gear. Like I just went to a store and bought everything. It was horrible. Didn't do any research. Just dropped the credit card, said, screw it. Let's figure this out. And I just remember getting to the parking lot. I think it was like near Palos Verdes. And I'm like slowly putting on my gear as I'm watching them put on their gear. And they're just like, you haven't done this before, have you? And I was like, nah, this is horrible. And they took me out to like a kelp, like the thickest kelp. And I just remember for like the first 45 minutes, because I don't know, too much ego, didn't want to ask for help. And I'm like trying to like crawl my way through spaghetti.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is horrible. This is like the worst activity ever. And then they're just like, you could just dive down like a foot and you'll see all this opening and all this space that you can just kind of go from spot to spot. And I was like, oh, this is where I was like, oh, you should probably acquire knowledge before you get in the water. This is probably a good thing. So, granted, everything after that has been fantastic. Like I really, put my ego aside after that day and really just try to find good mentors. And I've kind of found people that I really respect and just been trying to be helpful to them, and then hopefully get some knowledge. And now I've been doing a whole bunch of trips and stuff. It's been great.
So besides that, and just finding a good mentor and not just jumping into it, what else can you tell guys who maybe just want to get into the sport what to expect? As far as the cost is obviously huge if you're going to be really going full pull, but you can kind of get into it on the cheaper side by starting out with some of the smaller gear and just staying local, obviously.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I would say if you're really interested, first go snorkel, with a buddy. Go find, a beach. You're not trying to kill fish. You're just maybe trying to see a fish. Go to a spot that is relatively safe. Maybe one that has a lifeguard tower. It depends on like your comfort level. If you're, an Olympic swimmer, even still be safe. But, if you haven't swam in years, take a boogie board out, kind of just go slow, go with the roll with it a bit. And then once you get comfortable, look for gear. Like you can always go for, a lot of people get into the sport and then kind of dip after a few months because they just find it's not for them. So you can probably find some pretty good stuff on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, or better yet, find a good dive shop. I like the guys over at Spear America. They've been super helpful to me over the years. So, it does help to go in. It's just, it's not the cheapest sport in the world. And you're kind of like, it's kind of like skydiving. You don't want to get necessarily the cheapest parachute. It's kind of a dangerous activity if you're not careful.
Yeah. You want to get good quality gear and you want to, have someone there to help you, like you said, ease into it. Go for a swim, hop in the water, see what it's like, because getting in the water, in the beach with the surge and like you said, the kelp and not understanding. And then if you have all this invested into it and you realize it's not for you, you're going to be one of those people selling their stuff on Craigslist.
Yeah. Another tip I would probably recommend is like, if you have a GoPro, go use that for the first few times, like go try to catch a fish on camera, because then it's going to help you understand. You can bring it to somebody and be like, hey, what was this fish? and help you understand the species, help you not get in trouble by fish and wildlife. But it's also fun because, the fish kind of know if you have a gun and if you're in like hunter predator mode. But if you have like a camera, they usually get closer to you anyways. So it's kind of fun that way. Then you can be like, oh, that's what a calico bass is. And oh, that's one that's legal. It's over a certain number of inches. Cool. Maybe next time I go out there, when I take out my spear gun or I go with a buddy with a pole spear or something, I can go try and catch that one. But take your time.
Yeah, and that is something huge, is understanding the regulations. And we've talked about this in the past on the show with lobster guys and stuff like that. Know your regulations before you get out there, because you might not think it, but the time you get stopped is for whatever reason the time you did something wrong. So make sure you know what you're going for, what you're looking at, the different species, understand the lengths, things like that. That's a huge thing. Once you get into the spear side of it, obviously when you're going in and you're just looking at the stuff, go get comfortable in the water. But once you kind of take that leap and buy maybe your first pole spear and you're going for it, know what you're doing. Understand that there are regulations and that you can get in big trouble and some pretty hefty fines if you start blasting just about everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So where have you been diving just most recently? Where have you been doing a little bit of hunting?
Well, my main spot is up here in LA. That's where I live. So I try to hit up like the Malibu and the Palos Verdes areas. That's kind of the easiest for me. A lot of times I'll get that call like night before where it's like, hey, I need you in San Diego at 4:30. Hit the boat ramp. We're going to go chase some tuna. So we've done that. We've gone to like San Clemente Island and Catalina a bunch trying to catch tuna. I helped get my buddy a pretty nice one this season. We spend a lot of time down in Baja. If we can, that's where I like to go. Like either Gonzaga Bay or Bahia de Los Angeles. Those are my two like kind of favorite spots. We've also ventured down to a spot called Tortugas, which is like 16 hour drive down. But Baja, in my opinion, is where it's at in SoCal. Like, I just consider Baja part of California. I just love it there. The environment, the people are nice, the fish are great. It's just I like that adventure piece of it. Not necessarily always having like the biggest fish or catching the most fish, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm in another world down there.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have anything planned in the near future, going down to Baja or anything local?
Yeah, I mean, I try to get a shore dive in every week. Life's been pretty hectic the last couple of weeks, so it's been a little bit hard. But yeah, I'll try to get a shore dive in this Sunday with a couple of buddies, and then I'll probably be down in Baja in November. I'd like to try to catch some species I haven't really been good at catching, like mahi, which is like pretty easy. I just haven't been around them enough.
Yeah, we had a good season, at least down this way on the kelps this year, and sounds like there's a little bit happening again down towards San Diego. So you might have your opportunity here.
Yeah,
to get out.
Absolutely.
So, well, John, it was good talking to you, and I know we're going to be hearing more from you, just not only in the paper but maybe on here again shortly. So let's keep in touch, and we'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Alrighty, folks, and that's going to conclude episode 38 of the Western Outdoor News Podcast. If you have any more questions on trips, tournaments, and events held by Western Outdoor News, visit wonews.com. Thanks.